Well, Coach, welcome back. You guys are our week 5, team of the week. You guys have won it 2 times in 3 weeks. You and Coach John Richardson of Westlake are the only ones who have come in here because of the communities you guys have, but also because of the football you guys have been playing. You're 5-0 for the first time in 40 years. This past week, you won 10 to 7-hour game of the week over Grand Lake. Just talk about your game as a whole, but also what you saw out of your defense this week.
Yeah, that was a really good game. If you were a fan of physical defensive football, we knew going into the game that was the type of game it was going to be. You know, we were kind of behind the 8 ball in preparation with Grand Lake getting a bye week before and it being a short week for us. So we told our kids that was going to be a challenge. That they did some things early in the game that kind of baffled us offensively, but we adjusted. We ran the ball when we needed to. We weren't as efficient in the passing game as we thought we were going to be, but we made some throws when we needed to. You know, so we've told our kids from day one when we implemented the plan last year that we were going to focus really on defense, because it's fun to go score points. It's fun to sell those tickets scoring points, but ultimately, you know, the old saying is tried and true that the defense is going to win those games. You know, and that's what did the other night. We took some chances in some deep territory on 4th down because we had confidence in our defense, and we showed up and played, and that the good defense coupled with the ability to us to hang on to the football and commit, minimal penalties is the reason we came out on top. Last
time when you were in here 2 weeks ago, we were talking about you had the chance to go 4-0 for the first time in 15 years. Now you guys are 5-0 for the first time in 40 years. You know all about the records and what you guys have done so far this season. What goes through your mind when you hear that you guys have done something that hasn't been done in 40 years at DeQuincy?
Man, it feels kind of good being from DeQuincy, knowing the history of our town and of the football in our town. And it's really fun seeing all of the older guys, get in touch with the younger guys. Hey man, when we were in school, we did that. That kind of dynamic of the kids nowadays getting to kind of couple with the old guard. That's cool. And also, being back here, this is a voting contest. Seeing the excitement of the town. How many people want to come out and vote. To get us back to Team of the Week because they're excited. So that's fun. That's what it's all about. Winning football games by all means is fun, but the kids having a really good high school experience is fun, and that's what they're getting right now.
And you were talking before we got on air, this week is a tough matchup. Erath, they're 4-1, and they just beat Westlake, another Thursday game for you guys. Just talk about kind of the challenge going into a week like this against probably the toughest team you've played this season.
Yeah, Erath's really good. Like you've already mentioned, they went into Westlake and knocked off the undefeated Westlake team, who's a really good ball club. Erath's only loss is to Vermilion Catholic, one of the best teams, one of the best small school teams in the state. And they had chances in the end. They really made a run at them, to come back and make that game, a 1-score, 1.5 score ball game. So we have quite a few challenges. We're dealing with some injuries coming off of last week. Some guys we got to shuffle around. But our kids are ready. That we have, I've said before, we have a good, headstrong group of kids. They know that Erath's a bigger school. They know that we're probably not getting picked, to win the ball game, and they're okay with playing the underdog role. We are 5-0. We have come out on top on every game, but our kids still kind of have that chip on their shoulder, and I think that's from last year of us being so close in so many ball games. They don't ever want to get overconfident. We try as a coaching staff to keep us grounded and whatnot, and let us know of the challenges ahead. And the next big one is Erath. So we're going to go into that one, and we're going to play hard for 48 minutes. I can guarantee you that.
That said, what is being the underdog, playing that underdog role, going in with maybe not as many expectations as you would going into a Grand Lake or going into some of the games you've played? What does that do for you guys going into a game like this?
Well, I think, kind of given the underdog role, you can motivate your kids in a 5-0 season. You can, as a child, as a kid, and even as a coach, get too full of yourself. Oh, we're 5-0, so we kind of got to find motivating factors every week, and that's a really good motivating factor. Is, hey, these guys are a few points away from being 5-0. They're a bigger school. They're a very well coached football team. I know Coach LeBlanc personally. He's went to college with him. He's a good friend of mine. So we have our hands full, and our kids know that. So we've had a good day of practice yesterday. We'll have another good 2 days of practice on a short week, and we'll go outside and hopefully it'll be a packed stadium Thursday night and see what happens.
For you, I know 5-0, you love what you've seen so far, but are there some areas you guys are hoping to improve this week and take into your district schedule as well?
Oh, absolutely. We said last week that we left quite a few points on the field. We missed some open receivers. We ran some wrong routes. Most of all in the passing game. Offensive line kind of settled in later in the second quarter in the game, and we ran the ball when we needed to. But I really think that if we can get our passing game back to the efficiency that we had earlier in the year, that we're going to be a tough out come playoff time. Because of the defense we play. If we can just continue to be efficient offensively and get first downs, we can shorten games because it's really tough to score on our defense. To this point, so hopefully we can clean those things up offensively and just continue to grow as a team, leading into district and leading into the playoffs. Something
in the high school game that's kind of rare is having a kicker. But this week you guys won partly because you have a kicker. That was the difference, that field goal you guys hit. Just talk about what that does for you going into games, knowing that you have a kicker that's capable of making field goals like he did this past week.
It's kind of funny you mentioned that. When our season ended last year, it ended in Grand Lake. We lost by a point. We drove the field at the end of the game, and I think we had somewhere between a 15 and 20-yard field goal that we were going to kick for a game winner as time expired. Grand Lake, kudos to them, blocked it. They blocked 2 field goals that game and blocked a punt. That game in itself made us focus more on special teams this year. Cohen is a good kicker, and he was a good kicker last year. We had some things we had to clean up with our special teams, and we did that. And it was kind of ironic that where the season ended last year, we came back, and the reason we beat them was because of a field goal. So it showed our kids that there are 3 phases of the game, and that third phase that kind of gets overlooked, especially in small football, is very important. We actually have 2 pretty good kickers. We have Cohen Cormier is more of our place kicker, field goal PAT guy, and he will kick off. And we have Nolan Schrader who kicks off, and he's got a really good leg. So we're blessed this year with guys who can kick the ball. Cohen also handles the punting duties, and like I said, it's funny that you mentioned that's the things that we cleaned up in the offseason and preseason into this point, and that's the reason we won the football game the other day.
And lastly, it looks like you guys probably will make the playoffs, but what are kind of the goals going into these last 5 games before November gets here?
Well, the first goal is to win the week. Like I've talked ad nauseum, but we really, really want to win a district championship. That's our first goal, because it's been so long. It's been since 2000 since we've won a district championship, and our kids really want that. And I know our district's small this year. We only have 3 district ball games, but that in 20 years nobody's going to care how small your district is. Are you the champions, or you runner-up? Or are you third place? So that's our goal, is to win that district championship and just put us in the best position power ratings wise for when we get to the playoffs. There's a lot of good teams in our division. There's some small school legends, Haynesville and Logansport and South Plaquemines. Those teams are really good. Homer. So we are going to come up against a team that is more athletic than us, that is bigger than us, and we're going to have to play solid football. And we have not turned the ball over yet this year. We're going to have to continue to do that and just play clean, well-coached football.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you joining me, and just like I told Coach Richardson last week, maybe you'll be back here in a couple weeks, because it means you guys are still winning.
If we keep winning, our fans will keep voting, so I hope I'm back here too. So.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach Woodard and DeQuincy will take on ERAP this Thursday. We'll have that game coming up on Thursday, and of course on Touchdown Live on Friday night.